Okay, it's been a minute, but I'm back. Today we're going to be talking about how you can use natural light when you're shooting indoors, how scouting and production design can both help you with this, and how it can help bridge the gap from the natural light coming into the room and the artificial lights you have on set to help complete the look. Okay, before we go any further, check out this sweet Ingenue lens I'm using to shoot this YouTube video. It's for an upcoming shoot I have, but I figured I might as well use the lenses while I have them for the rental house. Okay, so the breakdown I'm talking about today is a segment of an 8-part album teaser. I've already talked about a couple of the segments in previous videos on my YouTube channel. I'll leave links to those down below or up in the card above. But the setup we're talking about today was super unique in the sense that it looks really, really good and has a lot of high production value, and the look is super beautiful. But the amount of lighting we did, it was actually pretty minimal. Music videos are super fun to work on if you have good music, just like the track that's playing right now. Now, this isn't a sponsored video, but I did want to throw a little shout out to Artlist because they've been a big supporter of the channel for a long time. So if you're going to sign up to get some music for your productions or YouTube videos, click the link down in the description to get a few perks. The scene for this music video takes place in a room where there is these 3 big paneled windows on the back of the room. Now, there are 2 sort of elements that really helped us to use those windows to be the main key lighting source in this setup. The first of which is when we scouted the location. Time of day is super important in your location scouts, as I've talked about before. And while you might think it's a little less important, it's actually equally as, if not more important, when you're shooting indoors. Because the sun moves around in the day, you have to make sure that whether you want the sun nuking through the windows or not is relevant to the scene you're trying to shoot. In this case, we did not want the sun blasting through the windows, so we made sure to shoot earlier in the morning so we wouldn't get any direct sunlight blasting through. This made the light that came through the windows way softer and way easier to balance with the artificial lights we had inside. While we did have some decently powered lights like a SkyPanel S60 and some Astero tubes to play with inside, we didn't want to have to fight the full direct sunlight coming through the windows. So choosing the time of day accordingly was super key to pulling this off. The second thing that really helped us achieve success with this is the production design. As a DP, I think the conversation around talking to your production designers is not spoken about enough on the internet. A cinematographer and production designer should be talking hand in hand throughout the project to make sure that they're aligned, whether it's on colors of items in the frame or things that affect the lighting. Like in our case, we were using shears on the window to help diffuse the light. Oftentimes it's hard to talk to your production designer beforehand or pre-production, and if you're lucky enough to get a really good one or get on a big enough production where you can have those conversations, that's awesome. In this case, because there wasn't much prep time and only so many resources to put towards this music video, we just showed up on the day, and the director was the only one who had had conversations with the production designer. Lucky for me, the production designers I was working with were super dialed and had brought various different options as far as shades and densities of the curtains that covered the windows. Because, as I mentioned before, we didn't have direct sunlight, the sunlight was already bouncing off of the environment outside and through the windows. And then adding that nice white soft curtain was only another layer of diffusion that made it look really beautiful, like this big soft source. When she first enters the room, that just works as a nice reverse side key, because obviously we're never going to be shooting from outside looking in. And so anytime we shoot towards the window, that is going to be our main key source. It's going to be the most powerful source, and so we're always shooting on this shadow side of her face, which inherently makes it look more beautiful. Now, with that in mind, if we had just left it as such, her face would have been a bit too dark when she was facing completely away from the windows towards camera. To compensate for this, we played with 2 different other lighting sources to complete the look. The first being a SkyPanel S60, and we had a nice Chimera box on it to soften that up to match the soft light that was coming through the windows. So anytime we needed a little bit of lift on the shadow side of her face to make it a little less contrasty, we just flick that on and wheel it around the room to the appropriate position depending on where the shot was that we were set up for. In the shot where she enters the room, obviously we couldn't have the sky panel in that room because we were showing the entire room. And so for that, we rigged an Astero tube just above the door outside of frame so that when she enters the room, she still gets a little bit of light kicked onto the front of her face, but then we don't see any light stands or anything in the frame. We also use the Astero tube when she approaches the mirror and for a couple of the little inserts where she's filtering through the photos and changing the tape in and out of the cassette player. Because of the nature of this shoot, we were shooting nearly 8 different music videos inside of the time span of 2.5 days, which was pretty crazy. So using the natural light, not having to set up a bunch of lights outside, we were on the 2nd story of this building, allowed us to save a ton of time, move really quickly, have limited lighting setups inside, and just be able to run and gun and move the camera around and have it look really good as a baseline. This is super crucial in terms of making your day and will not only make you happy as a DP because it'll look great out the box, but also make your talent, your director, and your crew all happy because they're not having to wait for you or work around you or do too many insane lighting setups. Anyways, just a quick video today. I just want to talk about how I approached using natural light inside. If you like to click the like button down below because it actually makes a difference and helps share this video with other people who might be interested in hearing about this. A special shout out to anybody who is wearing Birkenstocks and socks while watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.